before Christmas in 2023, now it's 2024, we put out a survey to our database of thousands of people to find out what content they wanted. And to be honest, it was pretty simple. A lot of people wanted to know the best tips for selling their house and the best tips for buying a house. Obviously, there was hundreds of other answers and things that we're going to cover in this channel. But today, in response to those emails, I'm going to cover off on the best selling tips to help you in Perth's hot property market. And pro tip, it's much the same as the tips that we give you when it's a bad market. But hang around and let's check it out. So in today's video, I'm going to cover off on how to sell a property in a hot market like it is in Perth right now. And if you haven't been here before, my name's Jeremy Shirazi and I'm your friend in the Perth property business. And if there's anything you ever want to know, let us know in the comments below. I'm happy to help. Now, to jump into today's topic, there's a couple of things I want to cover off on and a couple of themes I want you to keep in mind as we progress through this. Now, number one is emotion versus logic. Obviously, the basics we're going to cover off on, which we touched on before. The basics are the same, whether it's a hot market or a low market. There's some small changes, but the basics are much the same. And also you and the agent and what roles you both play in getting you the best result. Now, when it comes to emotion versus logic, now, selling a house and buying a house is probably one of the most emotional things that you are ever going to do. More so buying, I'd say. But selling, to be honest, selling is just as emotional as buying from where we're sitting. So as a seller, what you want to do is try and minimize your emotions and try and stay in the path of logic as much as possible. And what you want to do is create a positive emotional response from your buyers with the product that you are selling, which may be your house or your investment or whatever it is. But it's important to forget and not to take the soul out of a home, but it is still a product. It is a product that's being put out to the open market that has a lot of buyers that are potentially going to compete for that one individual product. Now, what is it about your product, your house, your home, your investment that makes it stand out compared to all of the rest? So when we're talking about invoking that positive emotional response, there's some key points that you have to do and some key points that the agent has to do to basically bring all of that together. And it's teamwork. It's not, you can't put it all on the agent and say, go get me the best possible price and I'm going to sit back and do nothing. And you can't be doing everything and then your agent just riding on your coattails going, oh, well, they did all the hard work. I just sell it now. It's super easy. You both need to work together to get the best result. So what do I mean by positive emotions? So we've all looked at property online or we've all shared a property with our partner or someone with a friend or whoever and gone, oh my God, check this out. That is a positive emotional response. When you're sharing a property online that you have no intention of buying, be like, oh my God, check out this house. There'll be elements of that house or a location or something that is like, oh my God, that is amazing. Now we're trying to recreate that response, and not in a manipulative sense, but a genuine sense. Like, what is it about this property that, really speaks to the buyer or the buyers that we're looking to cater towards, and what makes them fall in love with it. So to give you some examples and to try and paint a bit of a picture here, we had one recently that we sold in December that had absolutely amazing tropical gardens. I mean, the outside was all liquid limestone poured, so barely any maintenance, had pretty much all the way around tropical gardens, lush tropical gardens. Like, the guy was an ex-landscaper. It looked amazing. Beautiful pool with a rockery and a waterfall. It had a gazebo and also a insulated patio as well. And the whole thing just came together. And I mean, we set that up. We had a bucket of beers out the back when people came over for the home open. So people, hung around, had a couple of beers, checked out the waterfall, just hung out in the backyard space. They lingered in that space for a long time and people just absolutely fell in love with it. Now, the house was really nice. It was well looked after. Our client, single dude, bit of a man cave. It was pretty sparse, but it was well presented, but it wasn't Hollywood inside. But outside, man, it just tugged on the heartstrings. And middle of summer, we had a bit of a heat wave going. People just fell in love with the space and just wanted to spend time there. So that's an example of an emotional response. On other properties where you say, well, Jeremy, that's great. I don't have room to do a tropical garden all the time to maintain one. There's plenty of other things that you can do. Think about when you've walked through a property and the kitchen is just like, pow, like it's just beautiful and you've got high-end appliances. Maybe it's like a Hampton-style kitchen or something that's modern, semi-industrial or whatever it is that just is out of the ordinary. And that buyer knows they're not going to find that product anywhere else in their market, in their buying cycle. So what I mean by that is the buyers have found that property and gone, there's nothing else for sale. And by the time I'm going to buy something, there's nothing else that's going to compare to this. suddenly they're emotionally invested in your property and they want to secure your property because you have a rarer product. Supply and demand. There's always X amount of properties for sale in a market, and then there's Y amount of properties that suit a particular buyer. And if you become Z, and that is you're the only one that's available with these options, that style of home that a buyer can secure, and it's what they want and they fall in love with it, you can bet they're going to go for it. And if they're going to go for it, so are a bunch of other buyers, because it seems to be the trend that people don't fall in love in isolation. When we have a property that is like really good, the one that I mentioned in the gardens, 23 offers on that one property. We performed 150-ish thousand over our initial buyer feedback range. So it was just an amazing result and a great result for our client. But again, it tugged on the heartstrings. So if you create that emotional response and it's really, really strong, we get more inquiry, more people to work with. If your agent has a good process and does their job, it's going to lead to more offers, and then which leads to higher competition and a higher price. And that's how you create positive emotion. Now, the opposite of that is creating negative emotion around a sale. If they walk into a property and it smells and it doesn't present well and there's laundry and dishes in the sink, it's harder for them to kind of envision and be in a space they want to be in, because you're not creating a space that they want to be in. They walk in and go, oh, I couldn't wait to get out of there. Yeah, I can see the potential. It's got good bones, but it didn't really stir anything inside. I can guarantee I can probably take a lot of properties like that and turn it into a love property with just cleaning it up and doing the basics and then doing some presentation. Now, you might say, Jeremy, well, we've got, this house and it's nice and it's clean, but it's basic. There's no real big love things that we can do. That's where an agent steps in. And for example, they might guide you towards staging a home. And people say, oh my God, staging's so expensive. It's $3,000 or $4,000. 9 times out of 10, it's going to, the return on investment is so good that it's going to be worth doing. Does it always win? No, 1 out of 10, maybe it doesn't. But that furniture that they put in there just dresses the home. So instead of walking in and looking at it, walls and a ceiling and all that kind of stuff, they are walking in and falling in love with the space and the emotion of it. So that's what staging does. It connects the person to the property and it lets them envision themselves in this really nice space to live. So that's another example of what you can do. Now, other negative emotions, I guess, again, if you like the opposite of presenting it well, just present it bad. You'll get the negative emotions. And the problem is when you do start presenting it bad, is that people will start to make concessions in their mind where they go, Jeremy, if we're selling it, look, I love the property. It works for me. I can see the potential of the property. But the issue is that this is such a hot market that I know that if I have to compete for this property, I'm going to go to my absolute maximum. And I'm not going to have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 left to put into the improvements that I need to do to make this work for me. So I'm probably just going to look at something else that's finished. And that's why properties that are well presented in this market, I don't have a stat, I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but regularly outperform properties that are averagely presented, because people are being pushed to their maximum. They don't have the budget to stretch beyond that to do the improvements that they want. So they just start looking at properties that are improved. And what do? They overpay on the properties that are improved because they can go all in. Like they can put everything into that transaction because they don't have to spend a cent afterwards. So they leave nothing on the table. So, or off the table. I always get confused how that works. Let me know in the comments. Which way is it? On the table or off the table? Anyway, moving on. Where was I? That's right. So going back to, presentation, if they feel that they need to do work, they're going to hold back, and there's going to be buyers that don't make offers on that property because it needs too much work for them, and they know they're not going to be able to afford it because the prices are still going to be good. It's a hot market. You are still going to get a good price. But the thing that sellers need to understand is that everyone wants a great price, and you don't get a great price just because you asked for it, just because the market's, you're expecting the market to carry you. It doesn't work like that. So going back to emotion, I know I'm jumping around a bit here, but going back to emotion, sellers need to keep themselves in check. You need to be as logical as possible when it comes to selling and understanding the process and dealing with the offers and those kinds of things. So if you are, emotionally going, oh my God, I want, that whole house sold for 2.5 million and my house is that all day, but it's not. But you want it anyway because that house got it. I should get it. I deserve it. It's a hot market. No, you don't deserve that $2.5 million. You deserve whatever the property is worth and perceived by the market and whatever competition that your agent can bring and negotiate to get you the highest price. But you don't get it by asking for it. You get it by creating competition, and you get that by increasing the emotional response from the market. Hope I've made that point pretty clear. So as a seller, it's really important that you don't feed into the hype and some of the bullshit that agents are going to feed you. And I know that sounds counterintuitive coming from an agent, but I'm going to just point out a small gripe with the industry that, I don't know, it's just like just a whinge tube now. Like I just come out with the random stuff and that I don't like about the industry and keep saying it on every video. Anyway, here we are. One of the things that I don't like about this industry is that myself as agent A comes in and goes, hey, your house is beautiful. These are all the features that I think that buyers are going to be attracted to. But looking at it logically, compared to this evidence, our appraisal is around this level because that's what the evidence suggests. And obviously there's a little bit of speculation that can be involved because we know the market's grown in the last, 1.8%, whatever it is every month for the last 3 months. So if we approximate there's been a 5 to 6% growth since that evidence has been presented, then your house should be sitting around here. Versus agent B that comes in showy, oh my God, this is worth 3 million all day. You are going to get this price. This house is amazing. Sign here, here, and here, and I'll get you that price. Don't worry about it. Now, agent B came in with absolutely no evidence, didn't care about the evidence. He just saw what you wanted, thought, I'll feed into the greed factor, go higher, and, put on this show, and then hopefully they'll sign up with me. And probably 3 or 4 weeks later, they're going to be knocking on your door going, hey, guys, we've had a lot of feedback from the market. The feedback's sitting at around 2.2 million, guys. Sorry, we're going to have to drop to that price to get a result. And you're going, hold on a second, you just dropped by like 800K. It's because they just came in and they bought the listing. They just went high with their price to try and suck you in to basically coming to market with barely any work behind it. They're just kind of going off their personality. Whereas agent A, who came in with evidence and a process and a way to get you a price, didn't sound anywhere near as sexy. And you fell for it. You literally fell for it. That's emotions coming in from a seller's perspective. And that's why it's important as a seller, stay in the logical lane and go, okay, great. Agent B, you've said I can get 3 million, back it up. What results do you have at 3 million? What's your process to getting there? How are you going to get that out of the market when the evidence is suggesting X, Y, or Z? Or show me the evidence that supports it. And agent A, if they're coming in with a level that you're not happy with and you're thinking, no, it's definitely worth more than that, well, speak to them about what their process is, how are they going to drive more competition. And if they're competent, they've already told you how they're going to get you more money. And it is really important for your agent to have a process. And yeah, just don't feed in to the bullshit and get sucked in to the hype of the hot market with an agent that's going to overpromise and underdeliver. So we've covered price. I guess we've covered the don't get sucked in factor. What else can we talk about when it comes to selling your property for a higher amount? So I'm going to move to basics. I'm sure some other stuff will come to mind. I'm kind of freestyling a bit here with a couple of notes above me. But basically, we're going to talk basics. And it sounds boring, but it's really important. It's probably the most important part of this whole thing when it comes to selling in a hot market or a low market. I'm also going to cover excuses. Remind me of that. I'll come back to that. So obviously we covered presentation. Presentation is key, and that is something that's not completely, but almost completely in your court as a seller. So it's your prerogative, your responsibility, whatever your motivation levels are, to get the property to the best possible presentation that you can. Now, I've had some sellers that spend weeks getting a property ready, months getting a property ready, and they hand me over the keys and it is tip-top amazing, and the market just responds exactly as you would expect it to. Then you get other properties where the seller is time poor and they can't put the work into the property, or perhaps they're cash flow poor and they can't put the money into the property because they're waiting on the funds from the sale to be able to move on financially. So I've worked in both examples. I've got one running at the moment. We're helping vendor finance, whether it be up to $20,000 worth of improvements for the seller, doing carpets, paint, a bit of the kitchen, a bit of the bathroom, some landscaping, just getting it all ready to go. So when we hit the market, it's going to appeal to the masses and invoke that emotional response, lead to more competition, and get that great price. So guys, presentation, hot market, slow market is key. Marketing. Now this one's always fun because people always push back on marketing. Again, I'm going to let you try and stay out of the realm of emotion and stay in logic. When agents present marketing packages to you, you've got a couple of different styles. And style one, probably the most common one, is an agent giving you the cheapest possible marketing package that's dressed up in a way that you go, oh, that's good enough. And it's cheap compared to the other agents. I'm going to go with them. And then agent B comes in and goes, hey, this isn't a package that I'm giving to you to win your business. It's a package based on your property, your target market, and how we get the best value for money out of our marketing package. And it's inevitably going to be more expensive than the first agent that came in cheaper. And then you're just going to have agents that come in that put down some crazy, crazy marketing package that go all in. Now, those agents that go with the crazy high marketing packages, if there's method to the madness and they can show you why and each piece and itemize it all and go, this is why we're doing this level of marketing, great. If they've got a strategy and you believe in it, go for it. Just be mindful that sometimes agents will get marketing from you and a little bit of it's kind of tailored towards boosting their own profile, not so much your property in isolation. So just be mindful of that. With our marketing that we do, whatever my sellers are paying for, it's oriented around their property. After the property sells, my head's everywhere. I've got a signboard with my head on it. I've got flyers with my head. My head's bigger than the house. It's all going out, but I'm paying for that. When we start, it's all about the house. When we get a result, I can celebrate. But a lot of agents do it the opposite way. They've got a signboard with their head bigger than the house. And it's man, you're using the seller's money to promote yourself effectively. So just be mindful of that. Remember, there's the budget ones, which is just trying to win your business because they're worried about missing out on your business because they've given you a too expensive package compared to, agent all the other agents. Then you've got the agent that's coming with the best value package that is tailored for your property, that thinks he or she's going to get the best result and the best value out of that money for you. And then you've got the agent which is going to go all in, which again is going to benefit you, but just make sure that all the pieces that they're putting together are for you. And one common kickback that I get now, and this is super important, and again, when we're talking emotion versus logic, sellers say to me, Jeremy, the market's hot. I don't need to spend a bunch of money on marketing. It's going to sell itself. Yeah, it is. But do you want a good result or a great result? Because marketing is not put there just to get it sold. It's to get the best out of the property by getting more people through and driving that competition. So just ask yourself if you fall into that trap. Just remember that it's there to get a result. Don't shortcut yourself with marketing on that. And the same thing is said in a low market when it comes to marketing. Jeremy, the market's really bad. I'm losing heaps of money. I can't afford marketing. It's well, you either want to invest to getting a higher chance of getting a better return or you don't. Same thing with a hot market. You don't have to. It's a hot market. But if you do, the rewards are there to be reaped by those. And another great thing is that so many people shortcut on the marketing now because the market's hot, that when you go all in on marketing, you stand out way above everything else, and you increase the chance of that emotional response from the market. When we go to process, the marketing, that's pretty much you and the agent. That's something that you guys need to come to together. And kind of what I'm going with here is that the presentation is mostly you as a seller. The marketing is you and the agent coming together with a strategy and an understanding, and you letting go of the reins a little bit to give them the freedom they need to do the marketing that they have to do, but obviously in agreement as well. So you just feel like you're not getting taken for a ride. With the process is going to be mostly the agent. Okay, because they're obviously handling that process. And this is where it's important to have an agent that has a process and a strategy and results behind them to show why the strategy worked. And obviously reviews and things from past clients to say, hey, we had a fantastic experience and obviously the process worked. So, myself as an agent, the strategy that we use is seeing a consistent, 10 to potentially 15% return above what the other agents are appraising the properties at. And I'm not saying it's any magic, and it's not just me as an agent. I'm a fantastic negotiator and I'll get you X, Y, and Z. No, we have a strict process that we follow, and it highly increased, there's a high chance that we're going to get a better result because when we stick to the process, it works. And that's what I explain to my sellers when we're doing in the appraisal process. And that's what most of my sellers go, yep, that makes sense. We go through the process, we get a great result. The end. So guys, make sure that your agent, whoever you're working with, isn't just all, what's the word, charisma and winning you over and all those kind of things. It's like, cool, break it down. Like, how are you going to get the best result for us? What is it that you're going to do? So guys, presentation, marketing, and process. The presentation's in your court, the marketing's in both of your courts, and the process is in the agent court. And with all those things combined, you'll get a great result, but you don't want to shortcut on any of those points. The other thing is understanding trends as well. So at the moment in Perth, that kind of median, $500,000 to $600,000 mark is blowing up right now. It's insane. Investors, home buyers, everyone's aiming at that space because it just seems like the most affordable and best value for money space at the moment. And if you've got that style of property, yeah, you could argue you could be a little bit lazy and go cheaper on the marketing, less presentation. You're still going to get a good result. But remember, if you want to get that great result, you've got to understand that if you go higher with the presentation, you have good marketing and a good process, you are going to get a great result out of this current market. And that's how you get a better result out of a hot market. Speaking more about Perth related trends right now, from what I'm hearing out there, the really, really high end stuff, so whether it be 2, 3, 4, 5 mil kind of stuff, is cooling off a little bit. They're not moving as quick, but they are still moving and they are still getting good results as well. So we still are in a great market. Our stock levels are still extremely low. In a few weeks time, I'll do another update as to our numbers and things. But guys, that's kind of a bit of a wrap. I thought I'd squeeze this video in before heading to work this morning. I meant to do it last night, but I didn't. So guys, let me know your thoughts on this video. It was a bit off the cuff. I might have been talking a bit quick, I'm not sure, but I'd love your honest feedback. Let me know if you got some value out of this, or if you've got any follow-up questions, or if you want me to unpack any of these anymore, and if you've got any other subjects that you want me to cover. But for now, have a great week. My name is Jeremy Shirazi. I'm your friend in the Perth property business, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.